Okay, so today's video is just going to be a fun declutter, going below the bathroom sink and seeing the rough shape that my toiletry area is in. It's going to be brutally honest, up close and personal. I don't even know what's in there right now, but I know that it's just chaotic and disorganized and something needs to be done about it. So I'm going to do that with you today. And so whether I'm on in the background or you're decluttering with me or just looking for some decluttering inspiration, just sit back and enjoy this declutter. At the end, I'll share some thoughts and things I've learned from the declutter. Usually after a declutter, I do have some kind of thing that I've learned, and I always try to document that along the way, which helps me internalize those lessons better. So yeah, let's get going. Moment of truth, how bad is this gonna be? But this is gross. Sometimes I use a little product while I'm doing this. Here we go. It was surprisingly hard to sit down here because I am extremely pregnant, if you can't tell. So getting on the floor isn't the easiest right now. Also, this bathroom's kind of small and echoey, and it's just kind of a tight quarters type area, but that means it's that much more important for me to declutter so that we can actually use the space more easily. Because honestly, every time I open this thing, I'm always like shuffling things around, trying to find what I need, and it's annoying. So I think there's some much needed decluttering and organization that needs to happen. Honestly, it's kind of worse than I thought, even though this is a place where I often reach into on a regular basis, but I think my brain hadn't fully processed consciously how bad it was, so I'm a little self-conscious to show this to you all without any kind of prep. This is the situation. I will say though, it could be way worse than it is, to give myself some credit. Like, it could be piled high to the top of this cabinet, and it's not. So I have occasionally like decluttered it, thrown things out, but it's built up yet again over time, which is how, you know, life happens, and I'm gonna do something about it today. 2 hairspray canisters. Obviously, I don't need both of these, and one of them I think has a broken top and is almost empty, so I'm gonna get rid of this and keep this one. Also, what is this wrapping doing in here? It shows that I have been just not dealing with garbage when it happens in my life. That's something I keep learning about myself over and over again. I just need to be better about throwing away garbage when I encounter it. These are an example of something that just doesn't need to be easily accessible. Like these little travel Listerines, I really like to use these when I travel because it's a quick way to just refresh yourself, especially after a plane flight. You're feeling kind of gross, but I don't need to keep these at the ready in this very valuable real estate where I'm moving things in and out every day. So I need to find another storage option for these as opposed to putting them in this important real estate. Or if I can organize them in a smart way in the bins where they're maybe a little less accessible, but still can live there, that might work too. One thing I'm noticing too is as I go through this, it is very like sticky and stuff has spilled in there. And I think keeping these products in bins will help them A, keep upright so they don't spill as much, but B, keep the spillage into a concentrated area that I can clean more easily. So I think these bins are gonna come in handy. It kind of reminds me that you can't just declutter once and then never worry about things again. Sometimes you gotta go back and declutter again so that you can physically clean things and be aware of what you have. So I think a lesson here is it's an ongoing process. These are some fancy hair or skin products that I either used up in this case or barely used, and I've had this, you know, for many months. So I think it's time to declutter these. Maybe I can make use of these glass bottles, or at least I can recycle them, which is good. Like, I messed up. I should not have bought that hair oil stuff that I never used, and I'm learning from that instead of living in denial that I am going to use it one day, I'm not going to use it. So I just need to get rid of it. This is the kind of satisfying part. Okay, so here's the final product. Now, is it the most minimalist? No, but this is all the stuff for 2 people over the long term, and some of it is storage. So in that sense, I feel pretty good about it. Like, this is a nice amount that feels handleable to me, and where I do have a couple backups of things, so I don't need to immediately run to the store every time I need something. This feels far more streamlined. I got rid of a bunch, I cleaned it out, and I put it in bins, which ultimately just makes it easier for me to pull things out and find them when I need them and just throw them back in when I want to throw them back in. And I think that's what is great about a bin or a basket, basically having a clutter catcher, so that at least it's contained and you can like pull it out and see it and deal with it. And I feel like there's ample more space in some of these that I hope not to fill, but it doesn't feel overwhelming. And I think this is a good example of actually making better use of vertical storage. You know, this isn't the biggest bathroom cupboard. This is essentially our bathroom storage. And so having more use of the height of it allows the surface space to be a little bit more cleared out, which is nice. What's nice with these bins is they do come with these little tops. I got a set of 8 so that I can also use them in kind of pantry areas or the kitchen or the fridge. And that way with the top or the lid, you can stack them. So it makes a huge difference. I'll link these below if that's of help to people. Okay, so I gotta go put my feet up after that, but I just wanted to check in about a couple of lessons from this declutter. First of all, I'm just really glad I did it because it didn't take me that long. It was definitely under 20 minutes and it made that space feel so much better. And that little cupboard area underneath our sink, we access on a daily basis, usually multiple times a day. The fact that I made that change is something we will notice as time moves forward. And so sometimes taking the initiative and making those little changes around your home can make a big difference in your day-to-day life. You're not having your stuff screaming at you silently, deal with me, take care of me, clean me, declutter me. I do see decluttering as a form of self-care, like me taking the time to organize that space and to clean it out and to get rid of some old stuff. It was self-care because I feel a sense of lightness, of taking care of me and Andy, and it feels good. And I think I'm trying to do these little declutters around the house right now because I'm pregnant. Can't really handle big, hefty declutters, but doing these little declutters at this point around the space makes me feel also more prepared for this baby. And I think sometimes attaching the declutters and your motivation to declutter to big life events or to deadlines is a great way to motivate yourself to actually go out and do it. Sometimes if you just don't have the time or space or energy in your life, maybe you're even dealing with a medical condition or a disability, whatever you're dealing with, sometimes you have things that get in the way of doing the big declutters that you really want to do. And obviously, eventually it's about prioritization and finding time to do it anyway. But in the short term, sometimes that's just not possible. And so I think harnessing the use of these micro declutters, where you just take a little corner of your house, one cupboard, one drawer, one even part of a closet, and declutter it, you can see really big changes that still give you that boost of confidence, of motivation to keep going with declutters, but you're not overwhelming yourself. I really do believe even those tiny little declutters can make a huge difference. And I just hope if you're sitting at home and just feeling overwhelmed with way too much stuff, you're not alone. A lot of us are in it with you. Hopefully you can just get a little motivation to just make a slight tweak or a slight change and feel that benefit. Anyway, that's most of what I've got for you today. Thank you so much for spending this little bit of time with me, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.